So here we are, just moments from the start of the ASICS half marathon, towing the line, runners crouching.
Almost a couple of false starts there.
There was, and they're off. They're off in the ASICS half marathon. 6,127 runners. Now, we won't be seeing a lot of the ASICS half marathon. We'll certainly be able to bring you splits along the way. And of course, by all means, join the webcast, jump online. You can track your friends. I think there's an ASICS app where you're able to track friends with the ASICS app. And here we are. They're pouring through the start line. For people who might not be aware, if you're at the back of a start line with an event like this, there's no problem at all with timing chips. That activates as soon as you go across the start line.
Well, there's gun time and chip time, and so basically what happens is at the very front group, and for the elite guys, they go off gun time. For these back of the packers and people that are going to be 1, 2, 3 minutes behind the actual start, they'll actually record a chip time. So that's a great thing about technology these days, is everything is done to the complete millisecond.
Yes. Of course, in years gone by, probably when you and I started racing, mate, Benita, you're a little bit younger. You know, you would try and inch as close to the start line as you could because you didn't want to lose those precious seconds.
And we all went off by the sun. Yes, you know, we had to look up, we had a compass, and that was it. The gun ran, and basically you roughly, estimated what your time was.
Etching the results in stone with a...
Oh, yeah, back in Clarkey and, Derek Clayton's day, I mean, we had, like I said, we've come such a long, long way. I mean, especially when I look at, events, 25, 30 years ago to where we are today. Runners are certainly given every opportunity to maximise, their performance through technology, whether it's using Garmin's, heart rates, the chip timing systems that are in there. I mean, we're going to get information fed back to us in the studio through every 5K split, halfway split. So even though there's no cameras out on the course, we can really be involved in it by getting all that data that's going to be sent to us.
And of course it is so high-tech these days. Coaches like yourself, Benita, they're even able to have athletes in other countries, other side of the world, and almost feedback training data live or download it very soon after an event. Do you use that much with any of your athletes?
Yeah, we use the Garmin data from the watches there, and they download onto a program that I use for coaching. And it certainly does help you track their progress, as well as in races you can check websites for the downloading of every 5K, 10K split, and so it just makes it easier to track your runners and see how they're going without having to scroll through results on websites and things like that. But I mean, yeah, it's come a long way. I know even when I started running, I didn't even really wear watches that much, and then it kind of evolved into everyone wearing Garmin these days, and one of our great sponsors as well as the event. So it's a fantastic
Good plug.
thing
Good plug. And there's no cheating by your athletes in terms of times and splits of training session. I mean, the watch doesn't lie, the technology doesn't lie.
Well, I think the Garmin's do, because Mona and I were talking about this yesterday.
Your times are slower than what they should be?
It's not necessarily the times. There were lots of loops and runs that we did, and we were always adamant that we were running 200 kilometres a week every week, 8,500 kilometres every year, and Mona's got the Garmin. He's gone out and measured quite a few of our loops, and we've realised that some of them are about 1 or 2 kilometres short. I don't want to pull out 20 years of my training diaries and have to readjust what they were exactly now. So I think, it's a reality for us that maybe we were cheating. We weren't as good as what we actually claimed to be. So
you don't have to go rewrite history, but that'll be our little secret, just between the three of us, guys.
Yeah,
well,
never ever let...
all the course records for it.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Never let the truth stand in the way of a good story as well. So.
Do you get amazed by the mass participation numbers? I mean, of course, there is a broader diversity of events these days to challenge major events like Gold Coast Airport half marathon and marathon. But Benita, it just is amazing to see the numbers of people out there.
Oh, I mean, it's fantastic. And even at the kids' race yesterday, we had 1,200 in the 2K race, which was the first one. And to see that at the grassroots just growing so much, largest race in the Southern Hemisphere for the kids, to come into the adult ranks. And I mean, the participation rates are just skyrocketing out of the roof. And even women's running is increasing a lot here in Australia, and I think it's following trends in the US and the UK. And I mean, if we can just keep it going steadily up every year, it's improving the health of the nation, saving people a lot of money. It's fantastic.
You mentioned women's numbers, and you'll be pleased to know the official statistic on participation numbers here at the over the weekend at Gold Coast Airport Marathon: 53% women, 47% men. That would be unheard of maybe 10 years ago. What do you read into that? I mean, are women more health conscious? Are they trying to do more in the health and fitness space?
I think so, and I think running's a really time-efficient exercise, and a lot of women, you know, they've got families, they've got jobs, and they want to do their running, get out the door. A lot of them do it very early in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, especially here in Queensland when it's so hot. And then they go on these races because they go with their friends. They like to travel away to Melbourne or Sydney or even overseas somewhere, or the Gold Coast if they're, you know, if they're locals or interstate, and certainly, you know, that helps them to enjoy this training together with their friends.
And it's a global trend. I mean, 57% globally are women that compete in races, and if you have a look at a lot of the marketing that's done by, you know, the major companies, it is all targeted to women. And if you look at the events, you know, the Mother's Day Classic, the Susan G. Komen event, you know, it really is trying to pull that particular market. And for men, obviously, you know, they get out there. I don't know whether they're just too competitive, but women do it for probably a few extra other reasons than their male counterparts. So it's great to be able to see, because 10 years ago, obviously, those numbers were completely different. So to have that completely change and move in the direction that we're moving in, I think it's great.
I love the story yesterday from the Garmin's Legends Lunch. You're talking about squeezing in training. One of our overseas competitors, I think it was from Malaysia or Singapore, revealed how he was training one day. There was an electrical storm outside. He had to run 8 kilometres around an indoor car park just to get the training. Now, that is dedication, and that is time efficiency and innovation for me. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, well, we've had to do that in Boulder, Colorado. Like, Benita's been there, and I still currently live there, and we can get some days in the winter that are like -10, and it's been known for one of my coaches in his training group to actually do their training in a car park. So you make the best of what you've got.
Yeah, I've done a car park session, a few sessions in a car park before in Boulder too. So
oh, well, you've impressed me as well, both of you. It's fairly commonplace. What about, I mean, do you have to resort to treadmills in winter in Northern Hemisphere?
Yeah, I've been anti-treadmill up until around about 2010, and I realised that, you know, my old school way of thinking was actually negating me, because there, like, so much snow comes in, and the treadmill allows you to keep your rhythm, help keep that synchronicity of what you get from running. Whereas if you run out in the snow, you know, you're running slower, your leg turnover becomes slower. The crispness, the coldness actually affects your lungs. So, you know, you've got all these little debilitating factors that come from the weather. So my line of thinking has certainly changed a heck of a lot over the last 4 years with treadmill running.
So, in contrast to that, we've got a fantastic and ideal 13 degrees out on the course out there. That does point, however, to the fact that it will probably warm up. I think we've got a maximum forecast of around 23, 24 degrees. Is that any sort of issue for the athletes, Benita, the elite guys? It may be a problem for a lot of the 3 or 4 hour plus runners out on the course.
Oh yes, certainly. The elites, even if you're running 3 hours, I don't think it's an issue, but if you're running over 3 hours, you can be finishing when it's quite warm. And once the sun comes up and you've got that direct sunlight, that's when it just gets a bit warm in the last 10k for people. But they've just got to start drinking from 5k, 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 but not affecting the elites.